What is the benefit of an insulation resistance tester over a multimeter? As I will test the compressor and different things with this megger. The compressor can also be tested with a multimeter, but why is a megger preferable? So, friends, a megger is an insulation resistance tester. It is a special device for insulation testing. As the video progresses, I will tell you what insulation testing is used for. You can see some ports for installing the probes and a selector knob like a multimeter. How you want to test the DC volts of anything, you will install the probes on the L and the E. The AC voltages range of this megger is 600 volts. And then, the probes will be attached to the ACV and ground port of the megger. I will tell you when to use a megger to test AC voltages and when to use the DC voltages to test devices. See, a rotary switch is installed with it. Now I will rotate it. I have set it to 500 DC volts according to my requirement. I will attach the probes to the device I want to check. I will tell you further in the video how to do it. I will press the test and stop button. The megger will start testing the device attached to it. A hold button is present in the megger. The reading is shown on the display of the megger, and if we want the reading to stay on the megger, then I will press the hold button, and the reading will stay on display even after pressing the stop button. This megger has 3 types of cables. The red probe, which is the common probe. But the black probes are of 2 types. The one has an alligator clip, and the other probe has a pin attached to it. The alligator clip can also be installed with the probe. Let me show you by removing it from the plastic cover. This probe can be used as an alligator clip and like a normal probe. Now, what is insulation resistance testing? Whenever wires are manufactured, they are made this way, as I have made coils from these wires, or they are made this way. So how will we test it? These wires have insulation on top of them to protect one wire from being attached to the other and prevent short circuits. We check whether the insulation has resistance between them or not. Because as time passes and for many other reasons, this wire, due to different weather conditions, its insulation is torn up. And also, the insulation inside the wire has cracked, which makes a short circuit. So this is what we check, whether these wires have a maximum resistance between the insulation of the wire. So see these coils, as the compressor also has coils winded inside it. These wires also have an insulation layer. Now let me show you the insulation layer on these wires. See, you can see the wire beneath the insulation. The insulation on this wire is quite thin. And this is what we check, as I have told you before. Now I will check the insulation resistance of these wires. I have attached the probe leads with the megger, with the line and earth terminals. Now I am attaching the alligator clip with the blue wire. Now I will rotate the selector switch and set it to 1000 DC volts. I have attached the second probe with the yellow wire and pressed the start button. The megger displays 4.29 gigaohms, and the resistance value is quite large. Now, this means this wire is good. The same, I have attached the probe with the red wire. And pressed the start button, and we got the same value. This means the blue wire is not internally attached to the yellow and red wire. And this is how we test insulation resistance for a wire. For example, if the wires are short internally with each other. To show you, I have joined these 2 wires. Now I have attached the probe and pressed the test button. It is showing 0.00 mega ohms, and the tester has also started to make a beep sound, and now it has stopped displaying the value. Now I am going to test this compressor with the insulation tester. The procedure is the same. I will attach the insulation tester probes to the compressor's terminal. I will test the compressor on 1000 DC volts. Always test the HVAC compressor on the 1000 or 500 volts through any insulation resistance tester. I will also tell you its reason, but first, I will show you how to test the compressor. I have pressed the test button. And see, it is showing 0.00 mega ohms on the terminals. This means the coils inside the compressor are not disconnected. The main benefit of compressor testing is to check the insulation with the compressor body and whether it shows resistance with the body. And try not to touch your hand on the body, as they are high voltages. I have attached it here, and I press the test button again. Let's see how much resistance it has. The reading is almost 20 gigaohms, and then it disappears, meaning it has no short with the body. See if I touch the probe with the copper as well. It still shows the same reading. Or if I touch it with the body of the outdoor, it still shows the same reading. This means the winding of the first terminal is fine. Now, let's check with the second terminal. The tester is already set on the test mode in the same reading. But again, avoid touching the probes of the tester. Press the button to stop the tester. And check the compressor with the third terminal. Now again, I will press the start button by attaching the probe to the body. We are getting the same reading on the insulation tester as well. Now after testing all the terminals, it means all the compressor terminal winding is okay. Now a thing to understand is whether you check an AC compressor or a DC compressor. The operating voltage range is written on its specification sticker. This compressor operates from 90 to 360 DC volts. And the frequency range is 30 to 120 Hz. And whenever you are testing an HVAC compressor, also check this. And the insulation tester should always be kept between 500 to 1000 volts. Because when this DC compressor operates with the control board passes a maximum of 380 volts to these compressors. And when more voltages flow towards these compressors, the PCB shows over voltage protection. So always test the compressor maximum at 1000 volts. Never test on 2500 volts, as these are very high voltages. As the chances of the small compressor getting damaged are high. And on the AC mode, it can check the maximum of 600 normal AC electricity. Don't test high voltages with this tester as it will damage the tester or could be dangerous. Now I have this inverter refrigerator compressor, which is an AC inverter. The maximum voltage range of the compressor is 230 volts. The frequency is 43 to 134 Hz. I will not test it on such a high voltage range from the megger. I have set the rotary switch to 500 DC volts. Attach the first probe with any terminal of the compressor. Now I will attach the second probe to the compressor's body and press the start button. It shows 570 mega ohms of resistance, which is a good resistance for the size of this compressor. Let me check what value it shows us on 1000 DC from the megger. It is increasing and going towards 600 mega ohms, which still is a good resistance. Now, let's check what resistance it shows with the next terminal. It is showing 600 mega ohms again, but the value is gradually increasing. Now let's check the reactor of the inverter mini split AC. I have attached one probe with the terminal of the reactor coil. And now, let's test it. See, it is showing no resistance. We can test this at 2500 volts, this reactor can resist such high voltages. Now, at last, let's talk about why we need an insulation resistance tester, as it can be tested with a multimeter. The megger has its own value, and the multimeter has its own. But when we check the compressor with the multimeter, we check it on continuity and ohm mode. If we check it through a multimeter, it will only pass 9 volts through the device we are testing as it has a 9-volt battery inside it. But the insulation tester will provide 500 to 2500 volts. As this insulation tester also has a 9-volt battery. But it amplifies 9 volts to high voltages. This makes the testing with the insulation tester more accurate and tells us that the insulation is good. And this is how you test using an insulation resistance tester. Click on the left or right thumbnail on the screen to watch our next videos, and subscribe. It's free. Thank you.